started that off. And let me share for a moment. So today we have followership. Oh, did Maya just join the lobby? Yes, she did. Excellent timing. There we go. Hi, Maya.
Hi. Sorry, I'm
Hello. No, perfect. We were just getting started. So let me jump in then. So followership, yeah. So if there's one thing leaders need, it is followers. You can't really be a leader if you don't have any followers. Although a lot of people think they're leaders when actually they don't have any followers. And we'll dive into that a little bit because that's an important statement around that. And just coming back a little bit to, the whole plan of activities that we've been through over the last 12 weeks or the last 12 sessions. It's been more than 12 weeks, but 12 sessions. We've covered a lot of topics that are very much linked to the leadership topic and generating followers. We've talked about communication preferences. We've talked about some of the basics of leading people, where we talked about the directional spectrum and things like this. We've talked about organizational skills. We've talked about cultural diversity and communicating virtually. Talked about team building, how to build a team. Talked recently about storytelling and how that can motivate people. Touched a bit last week on innovation and creativity. And those topics all fit in very well to the entire leadership topic as well. There's one aspect of leadership I wanted just to recap then is the kind of maturity model. Because often a lot of leaders get into a position because they're given a position, they get hired into the position, promoted into a position, sponsored into a position. And oddly enough, I think my observation as people move up the executive tree, often it's not necessarily about somebody's capability or leadership capabilities. It's often about positioning within the organization, sponsorship that other executives then, put somebody in a particular position. So I've literally come across situations, because I was working in HR on the whole performance management for a couple of years, where I was speaking to executives, managing directors, kind of like the highest level in the organization, and they didn't even know who their direct reports were. Had no clue. Maybe they knew 3 out of their 10 direct reports. Didn't even talk to most of their direct reports. When it came to the annual performance review, they were asking HR to do the performance review for them because they didn't know who was working for them. Now, they thought they were great leaders. They really, their ego around leadership, they could not learn any more about leadership because they've been in that position for years. They've moved up the career path. But the reality is they had no followers. Nobody would follow that particular leader that I have in mind. And as soon as that leader left, would any of his direct reports or whatever his large team, he had 400 people in his team, would any of those people follow him to the next job because of who he was? The answer's clearly no. Nobody liked him. Everybody just thought he was a recluse that stayed in his office and didn't talk to anybody. But the team still operated, right? The team still did its day job, got the work done. And this is when we really think about what leadership truly is. It's not about position. It's the lowest level of maturity. So how do you generate real followers? So here's the opening question for you. Always like to throw in an opening question. Who are followers and what are followers? What do you think? Who are followers in the leadership sense of the world? Who are followers?
it depends. Would it be your, I guess, your team, right? They would be your followers. Everyone you're working with. Understanding in an organization, obviously you're forced to almost work with someone, but I think, yeah, that would be it, right? Your team, whatever focus you have, your team would be your followers. Off the top of my head, I guess that would.
Absolutely. And you covered quite a few things in what you said. So your team, so that's kind of like position. So you're put in a team, or you lead a team, or you're project managing a team. So that's position. The people you're working with, they might not be in your team, but you might be working with other people. That could be several things. It could be position, but it could be that they want to work with you, or that you want to work with them. So that could be, many different things around that. So good. Who else could be followers?
I'd say like people with the same beliefs as yours, like who are ready to give their loyalty to you in some way.
Nice. So same belief, a belief that resonates with them, and therefore they'll join up with you, when that cause has a purpose, or you're trying to do something because of that common belief, right, that resonates with them. Absolutely. And often you'll find more followers in that line of engagement than just position. Absolutely. Good. Other followers.
Well, people who consider you as some form of role model or something like that, like something like people who wants to be like a leader or
Absolutely. Role model. That's a really important statement, role model. People will follow a role model, because of who they are, what they represent, what they've done, what sometimes a person has done for another person, often. So how you can help other people will often generate followers. There's a great saying, actually, I think it's an African saying, either from Nigeria or Ghana. What you did yesterday will help you today. What you do today will help you tomorrow. And that's very much linked to the whole leadership thing. If you help people yesterday, they might come and help you today. If you help people today, then the likelihood is they'll come and help you tomorrow. Right? And that's very much a key insight into leadership. So if you think about what you've all just said for a moment, role model, being a role model. I shouldn't really say this. I know a lot of very senior leaders, and you go, are they a role model? And the answer's like, no, they are absolutely not a role model. You think, well, how have they ever got into that kind of position? So role model, helping others. So if you think about business, how many leaders might you come across that really genuinely help their people in the team, help them in their careers, help them to develop? Not many, actually, not many that I've come across. There are a few that are fantastic at this kind of stuff, of course. And then, of course, you've got your team members, you've got stakeholders, you've got people that you might work with. That insight can actually be quite profound if you take that kind of on board and think, okay, as your careers develop, especially if you're running projects, how do you move then from the kind of level of position to the point where people kind of see you potentially as a role model, or are willing to follow you because a belief resonates with them, and they think, I completely follow what this person's trying to do, trying to achieve, because they believe in that. That makes a very different angle on leadership and followership. Thinking about leadership from the follower angle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, on my side.
It's very profound. So here's the ultimate question. In business, let's call it in business. We'll stick to the business focus at the moment. Who's more important, the leader or the followers?
Well, it depends. I think followers in general, right? Because without a whole bunch of followers, the leader can't really. I mean, it depends on where the. Yeah, it's a trick question, right? So, depends on where the leader is based. So, in a project, I think, the leader would be the guy who's running the project, right? So, anyone who's working under him, if they're not doing their jobs, then, the leader can only do so much. But it depends if the leaders. Use my voice here. If the leaders in a let's say in an environment where they can actually contribute towards their own success without requiring a whole mass of followers, then yeah, the leader would be more important. I mean, maybe going off on a bit of a tangent, but that's what I think.
That's good thoughts. Good thoughts. Any other thoughts?
I don't know. I see it like as there's a saying that says it doesn't matter how fast your horse is going, like it matters in which direction.
That's a good saying. I like that. I like that. Absolutely. I mean, it is a philosophy question, right? There's maybe not an exact answer to this, but it does make you think how important followers are. A group of followers will as equally follow an idea or a belief as they will a person. And often, in business, you can get rid of a leader and the team will still operate. And sometimes the team will operate even better when the leader's not interfering, right? So that it brings a strong argument that the followers are super important. Yes, there needs to be a leader, and actually the horse example is a really good one there. There's a reason why we call titles differently from manager to director. A manager, the meaning of the word is just to manage stuff, manage the day-to-day, fight the fires, just manage the daily activities. Director, meaning of that position is to give direction. Just like the horse example, right? You need somebody to give the horse direction. But often leaders don't even understand the difference between management or direction. And leadership should be about direction, because the followers should be the ones completing the action, the horse running fast, if you think of it like that. So, of course, they're completely connected, but followers are super important. And understanding followers and how to build followership, move from just permission up the pyramid of maturity. If you know and take on board some of the insights around that, your careers will go right to the very pinnacle of maturity. A little bit like this. You can only lead if people are willing to follow, just like the picture, little ducks. So let me see. I'm just thinking. What I'll send you the link for afterwards is a link to a short video by Derek Sivers, and it's kind of a funny video. It shows a guy dancing in a park at a big music festival, and there's one crazy guy standing up in the middle of the audience that are all sat down on a nice sunny summer's day, just crazily dancing away all by himself, but he doesn't care. He's enjoying the dancing. Then one person gets up and joins him, and he greets the second dancer as an equal. He starts reacting to the second dancer, really takes him on as part of the team. And then, because now there's two people standing up, a third person joins. And the three of them are dancing away for, you know, a minute or so, and, you know, everybody's just watching at the three crazies that are dancing away. But then something odd happens, because the first person really welcomed the first two followers into the group, invited them in, kind of saw what they were doing, reacted to what, adapted to what they were doing. Then those three are starting calling on their friends, come up and join the dance. And within about 60 seconds, the crazy group of three dancers goes from three dancers to the entire audience dancing. Because there comes a point when, you know, there's 10 or 12 of them, they suddenly become the cool gang that are up and dancing. And when people see that it's cool to be dancing, and rather than sitting down, everybody gets up. It's an amazing little video. But the secret here is about the followers. It's not about the first leader, because very quickly then in that group, the leader becomes invisible, because everybody else has got up and began to dance. And the leader is, in a way, no more a leader, but he set the idea that it's good to dance. Right? And so the link here is then two things. To generate followers, the first act of generating followers is listen. Is really listen to your followers. And that's why that little video is so good, because you can really see the first leader responding, you know, really responding to the others that are joining, listening to them, watching them, adapting what he's doing then to the other people. And a good leader starts with that, starts with listening to, you know, the people that are joining, the people in the project, for example, especially as projects tend to grow. So as a project manager, as people join, if the first act you do is to listen to them, rather than naturally what you want to do is tell them what they need to do, right? You're the project manager, people join, the first thing naturally you want to do is just tell them, right, this is the project, this is how it's going to work, this is your role in the project, these are your activities you need to deliver by X, go do it. If you reverse that and go, welcome to the project team, let me hear from you kind of what you understand about the project, listen to them first, has a completely different impact from a leadership point of view. In that one moment, you're moving from position of authority, just telling them what to do, right, to becoming a leader where you're pulling them into your team. So it's a small thing. It's not easy to do. It really isn't easy to do. It takes a lot of practice, because you have to kind of eliminate kind of your natural way of potentially doing things. But listen to your followers. And the process is simple. Ask open questions, clarify anything you don't understand, paraphrase, which means repeat back to them what you've heard. You know, and a good way of doing it is, so Arafat, I heard that, you know, you're working for Eric for Boundaryless, you're working on fintech projects in a support project manager role. You know, you just paraphrase back to people that are joining, and then at the end summarize what the result is. And so, maybe what we should do is X, X, and X. You know, very simple. It's a simple process, but again, it's one of those things that sounds simple. Building up the behavior is not so easy. Thoughts, reactions? I've stunned you all into silence now, haven't I? Talked too long.
Yeah, I mean, there is no real leader leading if you are not able to listen to your followers and connect to them and make it clear that you are sharing like their beliefs, interests, and willing to like lead them, help them do whatever it is for their best interests. So yeah, makes sense.
And aligning interests, you know, often in especially in business now, we're talking social and other stuff can be very different, but in business, you know, often people have joined a team because they want to do the same kind of work that you're doing, right? Or they're on a project because they have the same project goal as you have. So very quickly you can align goals, align priorities, align beliefs, you know, around the topic of the business topic. So yeah, once you just start to listen and hear what people have to say, often it's surprisingly quick how you can build relationships, really good relationships, just by the simple act of listening. But it is not easy to do. And about the leadership bit, I mean, there are leaders in very senior positions which don't listen, but they're there because they've been given the position, not because people will naturally follow them. Does that make sense? So if you really want to build followers, listen to your followers, you know, and that could be your team members, people you're working with, your stakeholders, your sponsors, even. You know, it could be your friends, anybody, you know, that you're working with in business. It could be other people with similar technical skills that you might be networking with. Yeah. It could be because, you know, you want to develop as a role model, right? So many different reasons. So that's one good step on getting people to follow you as a person. Listen to them, adapt, take on board, align, all of these good things. The next key point then is people will follow a worthy cause, like a belief. So having a clear vision is also a very powerful thing. And if you've not heard of Simon Sinek, then just look him up on YouTube. He's kind of one of those leadership gurus and business gurus that kind of all business people know. He has a few good books which are worth buying. I think The Infinite Game of Leadership is quite a good book. Here's one about start with the why. It's a big book, but actually at the heart of it is one idea. So it's maybe not worth buying the book. Just watch the 10-minute YouTube that's out there. But The Infinite Game is a good book. And it talks very much about listening, intent-based leadership, all of these kind of good stuff. So start with why. Again, it's a very simple idea, but not many people do it. When you ask somebody, even in the question, it's built in, oh, what do you do? Or, you know, when you look at a business to join, like say Trestle or Boundaryless or IE4, you go, oh, what do they do? Oh, well, they do artificial intelligence, or we do robotics, or we do consulting. So when people are explaining the business or the project, often you start with the what, you know, what it is that you're doing. Now, the what it is never going to connect to people's beliefs or connect with them emotionally. What connects with people emotionally, though, is why. Why are you doing something? So, okay, so why are you doing artificial intelligence? Why are you doing fintech projects? It's a more difficult question to answer. So let me give you an example. I think it is a good one, and I'll actually use the company I'm with at the moment, Swiss Re, because they've put some effort into this, and I think they've come up with one of the better explanations around their business model. So I'll use that example. So why is Swiss Reinsurance here? And that's kind of insurance for insurance companies. Kind of a crazy idea, but you know, it's a big business. and they make a lot of money every year. So why is Swiss Re Insurance here? Well, it's here to make the world more resilient to disasters and catastrophe. So it's really here to make the world more resilient. That's at the heart of why Swiss Re is here. How and what? Well, how do they do that? They do that by putting money under risks. So kind of underwriting. They underwrite risks. So they take a lot of money, capital, and they put that under certain risks. Aeroplanes crashing. The Olympic Games being cancelled. 700 million we paid out last year for the Olympic Games being postponed. Huge hurricanes hitting Haiti, places like that. COVID. You know, we put money under these risks. We paid out 4.2 billion US dollars last year for COVID related insurance claims. And you know, what do we do? Well, we write insurance contracts in a very simple way. We write insurance contracts, but more business related insurance contracts, like for oil rigs, for hurricanes, you know, all the airliners, these kind of things. That's what they do. And who in that? Well, you know, there's a skilled bunch of people in Swiss Re that really deeply understand risk and what creates risk. And they work with other insurance companies and big corporations and governments as well. You know, they work a lot with governments to then, you know, help those insurance companies, corporations, or governments understand the risks that they face and work out how best to cover those risks so that the world can be more resilient and recover faster when disaster and catastrophe strikes. And a very real example of that is a couple of years ago, the Haiti hurricane that hit Haiti. Because they have some very clever people in Swiss Re, they were able to calculate exactly which houses would get knocked down and which houses would stand up for that particular hurricane. And even before the hurricane left landfall on Haiti, they had paid out 5 million US dollars so that people could find hotels to stay in, so that people would have enough food to stay in, even before an insurance claim had come in. That's the kind of thing that Swiss Re do. That's kind of a better one that I've come across. But it's more about an example of the process of starting with the why rather than starting with the what or the how. Thoughts, reactions on that one?
Stunned once again.
Maybe I'll ask a different question. Have a think about this. Because I started with the why, to make the world more resilient for catastrophe and natural disasters. If I'd have started it differently, we write insurance contracts that put capital towards risks for other insurance companies. Which of the two resonated with you more?
First one for sure.
It's a bit of a trick question. Yeah, of course, because the why is so much it's so much more towards people's emotions and beliefs than it is that it's a good thing, rather than just saying, yeah, we do insurance. Because as soon as you say, yeah, we do insurance, everybody thinks of car insurance, and trying to get some money back when you damage your car is really difficult with insurance companies, right? And we don't do that kind of stuff. So So thinking about the why is difficult. It's not easy. It's an easy question to ask. So why do you do what you do? But it's not an easy question to answer. So that's exactly what we want to do. So here's the challenge for you. I've done a normal Klaxoon board. It's the same Klaxoon. I'll put the link in the chat. For Arafat, have you ever used Klaxoon? Have you come across Klaxoon before?
No, I've done something.
It's very simple. It's a virtual whiteboard. I'll send you the link in the chat. You can click on the chat. It'll ask you for something like a nickname. Just put a name in, doesn't matter. And then you'll join the virtual whiteboard that we have.
Sure.
So everybody go and join. You'll see in the middle, hopefully a little welcome sign with some post-it notes with names around it. Underneath that, you've got a box that says, why do you do what you do? Now, to create a post-it note, there's a little round button with a plus sign in the middle of it. You just click on that and it brings up a little post-it note. You can type on the post-it note and then use the little paper airplane signal then to post it to the board. Then you can move it around with the hand and the left mouse button. So go for it. I'll give you all a couple of minutes. So now really think personally. So, you know, you've all actually explained a bit in the intro. I know Maya, you joined a little bit later, but we did a quick introduction for Arafat, who's joining us as part of Eric's team. You know, so you all explained what you do, graphic designer, project manager on FinTech, data scientist. You explained what you did or what you do. Now I want you to try and take a few minutes, write down a post-it note. Why do you do what you do? That's a difficult question to answer, but give it a go. I'll give you a couple of minutes on the timer. See what you can write down.
Why?
Arafat, have you managed to get into the Klaxoon?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out. There's an interesting platform. So what do you do? And I'm looking for why.
That's it. So you can move around the board by kind of grabbing it with the left mouse button. You can move it around. Up on the top right-hand corner, you'll see a grey box. You can also move around within the grey box. You've got a plus minus sign, so you can zoom in and zoom out as well. And then to create a post-it note, just click the big round button with the plus sign at the bottom, and that'll bring up a little post-it note. Then you can add a post-it note.
Apologies, Mark. When it comes to new tech, I always. Alright, there you go.
There you go, got it.
Okay. So why do you? Other than why is my job?
Why do you do what you do? It's a very deep and meaningful question, really. You know, sometimes it can take years to answer this question, so I'm very unfair at giving you 2 minutes to try and answer the question. But it's a starting point. Why do you do what you do? Tip, 30 more seconds, time goes fast. Maybe give you another 30 seconds after this. Why do you do what you do? There we go. Need a few more seconds. Shall I give you another 30 seconds?
I'm quite generic in my response.
That's all right.
I guess I have my post-it note.
So it was like a little paper aeroplane signal on the top right-hand corner. There you go.
Yeah, I posted it. It's just just posting. This is an interesting platform.
There are a few like this. Miro board is the other big platform that businesses use as one. Aha, I found your post-it note.
That was me still. I suppose I can play anyway.
That's it. I got it. I dragged it into the center. Found it. Perfect.
Teamwork.
Teamwork. There we go. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at what you put. Belief. That's actually a really great starting point. You know, if you believe in something, that's a great why. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit, on the belief? What do you believe in?
Well, it's about some personal, let's say, values, and I don't know, like, I don't know, it's a complex question. There are multiple like sides of it, but it's from one side it's my personal, let's say, I don't know, talents and some preferences, and from the other side there are, I don't know, those values, and I don't know, like it's, maybe I'm going to too abstract.
No, I mean it's good, and you know, this is one of the most difficult questions. I also do a lot of this in coaching. You know, answering the question of why is not easy. It takes some really deep thinking. But what you said is perfectly good in terms of, you know, applying your talents to the topics that you really value and have a deep belief into. That's a fantastic why, right? Applying my personal talents to the things that I really value. I mean, what a great why, right?
Yeah, you put it right.
There you go. So, you know, it's good to think about sometimes, because it will resonate with people far more than just telling them what you do, right? If you can really, you know, give them the why you do it, it's super powerful. So some others here, you know, drive my passion and creativity. So you're focusing on topics you're really passionate about, applying creativity, reason for being part of the company, because it allows you to do that, which is great. That comes in a bit to the what and the how. You know, I want to develop my skills further. What a fantastic why, because I want to develop my career. This is why I'm doing, you know, this particular job with these particular skills, you know, that kind of thing. Fantastic why. Allows me to develop the life skills that I can apply anywhere, even better, because you cover so much ground around, you know, not just relating it to business, but life skills, picking up those life skills to be able to apply. Able to constantly explore the visual world, solve visual puzzles in order to find the best way to communicate a message to the audience. You could even go a bit deeper there and say, okay, well, why? If you're like, why would you want to, you know, solve, explore, find the best ways to communicate? You know, so sometimes you can even go deeper into the why. Good. How did you find that? Just taking a moment to think about your own why.
Difficult.
Yeah, it's difficult.
I think there's different levels of why, you know, there's the why am I working for this company? Why is my career going this way? You know, why am I here today? You know, it's just, I think on a deeper level, you know, we're not just here to be floating around and not having any purpose in life. I think, you know, having a purpose in a way, I feel like in a way, not obligated, but I feel like, you know, looking back, my ancestors had like such a different life, and, you know, went through different wars and so many crises and survived all that. And today, you know, life is much easier for us. So in a way, I do feel like a bit like I do have like obligation to be successful and prove myself and be like in my, you know, in my sense, like be a good human being, I guess, you know, at least I try to.
No, very nicely
Yeah.
put. I couldn't have put it, you know, better myself. We don't have to survive anymore, right? And we're in a very fortunate situation where we can really almost do what we want. Of course, you can't always do everything that we wish to be able to do, but we can really align what we believe in, what we value, what our natural preferences and skills are. You know, we can align that to then the work that we do and the objectives and the goals that we want to achieve in life or in business, which is kind of a nice situation to be in if we can do that. Often in reverse, often you know very quickly when something does not align to your why. You know, if you're in a job and you think, oh, this is a crappy job, or, you know, you're really unhappy in something, that's when what you're doing is not actually aligning to your why, because intuitively, somewhere deep inside, you kind of know what your why is, even if you're not able to express it so clearly. That's the difficult bit. You know, so something's always driving us. So deep down, the why is there. Describing it and expressing it is the difficult bit. Pulling that out in a simple way that will resonate with other people is the difficult bit.
It's a challenge finding balance, you know. Over time, you learn that everything influences your life, you know. It was different when I was younger, but now it you know, everything is important, like career, family, friends, relationships. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So if you take that, you've worked out the why. You know, and we're talking more about business. So, you know, why does Trestle exist? Why does IE4 exist? Why does Boundaryless exist? Why? What really is the vision? Then you describe the why, then the how and the what and the who. And if you can do that in kind of a short sentence, so why are we here? We are here to inspire greater use of technology in business. I'm making something up, right? So that's a good little statement, so that we can increase efficiency of work in business, because everyone's struggling with capacity and cost. And we bring the consulting skills to be able to do that. So you've covered the why, how, the what, and the who, all in one statement. So if you can create that statement, then you can start to communicate it. And there's a very simple, good process to communicating to generate followers. Remember, we're coming back to the followers piece. People will follow a good vision. People will follow a good why if it resonates them and they believe in it. So if you can create that clarity and describe the why, what, and the how, and the who in a nice short statement, people will attach themselves to that and they'll follow that vision, that mission, that goal, that objective. They'll follow that. Then in terms of getting more followers, then involve people in shaping the vision or the plan. You know, involve people very much in that topic. Ask for their feedback, invite their advice, you know, do that together. And then suddenly people feel part of that vision and they'll have some buy-in to the vision, therefore they'll follow it more. And then the other really key thing, especially around projects, always have a date in mind or always have a timeline, because that sets the priority order. So pace is equally as important as involving people, as is equally as important as having a vision. You can have a vision like let's solve world hunger. Okay, everybody can relate to that. Or let's solve climate change. Great. Everyone can relate to that. But if you don't set a deadline, then it's just a statement. It's not a statement of intent with action if you add the time to it. So the time piece is really important when it comes to getting people to follow a vision, a goal, objective, whatever it might be. And it could be a project objective. It could be, a piece of data research that you're doing to get people to buy into it, especially if you're asking people to support that research, to give input into that research. Very powerful. So use this simple process cup then to communicate your vision. So quick recap. We've talked about moving away from the level of position in terms of leadership, building followers. Start by listening to your followers. Really super powerful. Then building a strong vision, starting with why. And I use the word vision, but it could be, just on an activity that you're having to implement with a few other people. It could be delivering one robot, right? It could be delivering one piece of script for some AI that you're working on. It could be one piece of graphic, design that you're publishing. So it could be one thing. It doesn't have to be a grand vision, like I used the example from Swiss Re. It could be just one thing. But have clarity on the vision, start with the why. Involve people, set a timeline. Suddenly, you will start to find that people are following that and you, rather than just being there, having to be there. It's a very different style of leadership, but quite deep when you start to think about it. And I'm just going to drop this one in here. And if you've not heard of the 7 Habits of Effective Leaders or Effective People, there's a book by Stephen Covey. Normally in these kind of sessions, I would be handing this book physically out at this moment in time. If you've not come across it, I really encourage you to invest and buy the book. It's a really good book. It comes with a CD as well, with some great videos in there, all around, effective leadership skills. And what we've covered touches on 3 of the 7 habits of effective leaders. Begin with the end in mind. That's the whole why piece. Seek first to understand. That's the whole listen piece. And also then the communication piece. And then, know your people, know your followers, which links to the why and to the listening. And we've covered some of the other topics, like first things first, prioritization, think win-win. We've covered those in some previous ones around organization and project. So it's all built into this, but just wanted to touch on that because it's really, really useful book. And most people in business in a leadership position have come across this book if they don't already have it on their bookshelves. So that was kind of like a super brief introduction into generating followers as a leader. Any quick reactions, comments, questions? It's always too short this time. We could talk about this for like days, and we only have like an hour to really cover it. I mean, the question on the why in a workshop, we would normally spend 2 days just on that one why question and really develop then the full-on vision for the team. But we only have an hour, so it's as fast as we go. Questions, reactions, quick thoughts.
I guess, these habits of asking why, being patient with your followers, I think these things come in over time, right? It's never going to happen immediately. So I think over time, it's just what I'll do myself is try and see where I can apply some of what we've talked about today. It's been quite insightful. Aside from that, it's just, no, I don't have any other immediate questions. I'm not sure about anyone else.
No, it does take time. I mean, leadership behaviors take a long time to build up, but they do pay dividends. Comes back to that, what you did yesterday will help you today. What you do today will help you tomorrow. Very much aligned to that. So just trying things out a bit differently occasionally can really help you in the future. Other quick questions and thoughts?
Science.
No, then maybe just a quick word to tomorrow. So we believe it or not, we've done 12 of these trainings so far. Next week we'll do projects. We will pull apart a project, what a project is, the phases, but more importantly, once we've pulled the projects apart, Arafat mentioned Prince 2. We'll definitely touch on Prince 2. We'll touch on PMI and a few of the others as well. Then what are the real proven, statistically proven success factors for a project that make a project really good project? And we'll cover that then in next week's session. And then the week after, we're going to link those things together. So from the followership bit and the vision, which we've covered, a bit the project planning, how to build a good project, then comes to then how do you take a vision, and then how do you plan delivering on that vision out. So these next 3 sessions are very much linked together. Start with the vision, think about project planning, then how do you link the two together to effectively deliver your vision in an organization or for you personally. So that's what we're going to cover the next couple of weeks. So with that, we're at time. Thank you very much for joining the session today. It's been a good one. Look forward to seeing you all again next week, and I'll send you the materials, send you another video for next week as well in advance. Have a great, fantastic rest of the day.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Bye.
Have a great weekend as well.
Great to meet you. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Cheers.